Hi, my name's Shannon Demai, and welcome to, take these off because you can see a reflection. Welcome to How to Draw a Realistic Face. I'm so excited that you're here. So today we're going to do some really fun things and get started with figuring out where the features go on the face. So we're going to get started with a slideshow just to talk a little bit about what I mean. So let's get started. Welcome to Drawing a Realistic Face. Come on, slideshow. There we go. So our final project for this class will include drawing a picture of a person from a photograph. It could be someone you know, or it could be a famous person, or it could be just any picture you find in a magazine. So this will be our final project, and you can start looking as soon as you'd like to start finding a picture that you like the best. Okay, I skipped the last slide because the materials are going to be a little bit different. This is a flex class, which means you can watch the videos whenever you want. And every week I'm going to update it. And what's great is you can rewatch the videos, you can rewind them, fast forward them, pause them. So we're going to talk about proportions first. Why are they important? Proportions mean the size of things, where they're located. So when you think of a human face, our faces are symmetrical, which means if you were to take my face and divide it in half, one side and the other side are quite similar. And to make something look realistic when you're drawing a human, you want to make sure that the face is symmetrical and that the eyes, nose, mouth, ears, everything is in the location it should be in. Now, when people draw cartoons or they draw other types of art of people that isn't realistic, they might make it a little bit different. So we're just going to look at these three pictures. I didn't do any of them, so don't be scared. We're going to talk a little bit about what is going on that makes these look unrealistic. I always say the first guy kind of looks like he could be, I think it's Grood from Despicable Me. He's got that pointy nose. He's got a lot of things going on. Well, the first one is his jaw, which is right here, literally goes to the back of his head, and his ear is almost on the back of his head too. So that's not very realistic. His hair kind of looks like he drew a circle and plopped it on top of the head for hair. So that's not very realistic either. His eyebrows are very straight, and his mouth looks like he might want to bite your finger. Hopefully he won't. Look at the next guy. The next guy is actually supposed to be Justin Bieber. So the person did spend a lot of time on the details. You could tell they really worked hard on the eyes, on the shading, on the hair, but the face is much too thin. So it kind of looks like his face has gone whoop, and he kind of needs to have it pushed back, and then everything will kind of spread out and look a little bit more normal. His eyes are too close together, nose is too long, and once again, the way the teeth are drawn, it kind of looks like he's gonna bite you. Now the last girl, there's quite a few things going on, but one of the things I want to discuss is the hair. Once again, it looks like someone drew a hair hat and stuck it on the head. It looks like it's separate. It doesn't really look like realistic hair. So correct proportions mean that things are where they're supposed to be. So the eyes are where they're supposed to be, the nose, the lips, the hair, everything is positioned in a way that looks more realistic. So there's two ways that people learn to draw. One of them is tracing and using tracing paper, just like in that first picture where they do the outline of the human face. That is one way to do it. Another is freehand, which is what we're going to learn how to do. And that's learning how to do it by not tracing, by not looking at a picture, but by just planning out the face. And I'm going to teach you the measurements. Today's class is all about where things go on the face. After that, we're going to be learning, each week we'll be learning how to do a different feature, like the eyes, the lips, the nose. But it's important to know where they go on the face. So we're just going to watch this video real quick. This is on shading for realism. Using shading is incredibly important in this class. So having a good blending tool is really important to use, whether it's a piece of Kleenex, a Q-tip, or it's a blending stick. So you'll watch how this nose goes from 2D, which means flat, to 3D, which makes it look like you could pinch your nose. And you'll notice that when they start blending in all those lines, it's going to start looking more realistic. So do you see how the side of the nose is starting to look like you could reach out and touch it? And that's all because of the shading or the blending, which we'll learn how to do in this class. Okay, let's move on. Drawing realistic hair. In one of the classes, we're going to learn how to draw realistic hair. So you can look at this a picture that someone drew. And once again, it looks like the hair is a separate piece that they stuck on top of the head. Now, I'm not a big fan of it says short, small curls. I don't really like that. It kind of looks like a dust bunny you'd see under your bed. We don't want to use that. But I like the other two of the wavy hair and curly hair because it shows the different colors in the hair, the highlights and the lowlights and the reflections from light. It also shows how to show movement in the hair, and we'll be doing that in one of our classes. So let's get started. I'm going to stop share, and now I'm going to reshare with my iPad because I'm going to be drawing with you. Sometimes it takes a minute to connect. I can't connect before class starts because I have to have the sharing going. Okay, it should be connecting now. There we go. Now I have my overhead light on to add some extra light. So I may need to adjust slightly so that we don't have any shadows because I can see a slight shadow right here. So I just want to adjust my camera so that there aren't any shadows. Well, there might be a few little shadows, but that's okay. All right, so what we're going to do today is we're going to start drawing a human face from the front. So the first thing we want to do, you can see my little hands here, is talk about our materials. We need a sharpened pencil today, and we need an eraser. This is a kneaded eraser. Kneaded erasers are really cool because not only can you play with them, they're like slime or Play-Doh, but also because when you erase, it doesn't leave any of those little eraser pieces that happens when you use a regular eraser. You know what I mean, the ones you have to brush away or blow away with your breath. We don't need to do that with a kneaded eraser, so they're super fun to use. I think I'm actually going to turn my overhead light off because it's showing a lot of shadows with my hand. Hold on just a minute. And that's too dark. Okay, I guess I got to turn it back on again. We'll just have to deal with some of the shadows. I teach some of my classes in the morning, so room I teach in is nice and bright, but I guess the lighting isn't as good out anymore. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a circle. And then you're going to put a dot right in the middle of that circle, okay? The next step is you're going to make a line straight across and then a line straight down. Now, what's great about this class is you can pause this and take your time or rewind it if you need to. Because at times you may feel, oh, she's moving a little fast. Just pause me and you can resume whenever you like. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to make another dot at the bottom of the circle and make another line across there. I'm going to measure with my fingers, my pointer and my thumb. I'm going to measure this space between the two dots. Then I'm going to lift my fingers up and drop my pointer finger on this dot. So I'm measuring here, lifting up, dropping down, and drawing a dot under this finger. So basically this space and this space are the same. I'm going to make another line across the bottom here. Okay, 2 more measurements. I need you to do a dot in between these 2 dots and then a dot in between those 2 dots, and try to make them as in the middle of the best you can. And then I'm going to make another line right across here and another line right across here. So right now our face is divided up into 1, 2, 3, 4 different sections. Okay, now we're going to start creating the face. I'm going to start on the outside of the circle, right under this line, and I'm going to go down in a straight line, right down to that line right there. Not all the way down, just right there. Same thing on this side. Line straight down to right about there. Then I am going to go underneath this circle, and I'm going to make a round, little round area. That'll be where our chin is. So you want to make it look kind of like a little bowl. Okay, and then we're going to take our pencil and we're going to round down, see how I'm just moving my hand, into that shape like that. Same thing here. I'm going to go down in a rounded shape so that we're starting to create the structure of the human face. I had a picture I was going to show you. I'm trying to think of where I put it. Somewhere in my art book. I think I might have taken it out. That's okay. I'll show it to you later. It's a self-portrait I did of myself, and I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about where those things are located on my face. I thought I had it right there. So hold on a second. Let me look in here for a second. I think this is most of I teach anime too, so I think I see some anime in here. So that's not what I'm looking for. That's not what I'm looking for. Okay, well, here's one of the ones I did. So we think about where the features lie on the face. So right now we started by creating this, and now what we need to do is we need to start placing our features on our face and where they go. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to look at my picture and decide where the features are going to be. So your eyes are going to go right underneath that line between the line and the circle. You're going to do the same thing over here. Now, to figure out how far away the eyes should be from each other, the eyes should be an eye's width away from each other. And what I mean by that is we want there to be enough room to put another eye in between our eyes. And that just gives you a good idea about if they're spaced out correctly. So the way we're going to do that is we're actually going to make a circle, kind of looks like a donut, around this eye, and a circle around this eye. And I'm going to make another circle here. This circle looks pretty similar to these circles. So I can tell that if I wanted to make another eye, it would be the same size. I'm going to erase that center circle. We don't need that right now. I'm going to keep the other two for a minute. We're going to use these circles to create our eyes. These are like our eye sockets, okay? Like if you're making a skeleton. So we're going to be using those in a little bit. Okay, and then we need to think where our nose is going to be. Our nose is going to go right above this dot. Our mouth will go in between this dot and this dot. Okay, now I'm going to take the top of my head and I'm going to extend it over the top of the circle and then connect it on the other side. All right. So I'm just going to make my face a little bit wider over here and a little wider over here. And I'm going to erase the line I had before and just connect this to the top of the head. Now this person will have hair, so obviously it'll look a little bit different. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start by making a arc or like a big fat rainbow right over the top of that eye and then right around the bottom of the eye like that. And then we're going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to make an arc and then go around. Now it's important that we try to make our eyes, like I said, we want to measure. I'm going to measure here and then measure here. I can see that this eye is a little bit farther over than I want it to be. Because what I did is I measured this eye and then I measured right next to it, like if I was doing another eye. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure, measure, and I'm going to make a little dot right here. Because that's going to tell me where the corner of my eye should be. Sorry, it's a little, there we go. So I'm just going to get my eyeball in there. So I'm just moving my eyeball over a little bit. So I'm going to do my rainbow and then that line right there. And another thing is we want to make sure that the eyes are on the same level. So this eye looks a little lower than this eye. So we want to just move the eye up a tiny bit too. Now part of art is, I'm going to look at my eye here and make a line right here. I can figure out that's the bottom. Oops, sorry. So I just made a line from the bottom of this eye to where I want the bottom of this eye to be. And the top of the eye kind of goes right along that line. When you're drawing, you're almost always going to be erasing and redoing things. It's just the way art works. You know, even famous artists have to erase and retry stuff sometimes just to make sure that they like the way it looks. Okay, so that looks much better. So they're not going to be exactly the same, but pretty close. The next step is going to be where the nose goes. Now, to figure out, just going to go over my irises a little bit. There we go. To figure out where the sides of the nose go, I want you to look where the corner of the eyes are. So here's my corner of this eye. Here's my corner of this eye. So I'm going to make a line going straight down from the corner of that eye and straight down from the corner of this eye. I want you to bring that down to this line. We're going to do something else with the eyes. This is what's so cool about the human face is literally all these things line up and you're like, whoa, that's so crazy. Go to your iris, which is this circular thing we did in the middle of the eye. You're going to make a line that going down from there to where the lip line is that we did here. Same thing on this side. So right now this person looks very sad. Extend the mouth to that line and then make a circle, a little circle on either side of that big circle that touches those two lines. Okay, now I'm going to go in it again and I'm going to erase those lines so we don't need those anymore. And I'm going to go around and erase those circles around my eyes. And we really don't need to have most of these lines anymore, but a few of them we do need. So I'm going to erase the one underneath the face, underneath the mouth. I'm going to erase the one on the cheeks here, but I am going to leave the line under the nose and up in between the eyes. The reason I'm doing that is that's really going to help us with where our nose should go, because our nose is down the middle of our face. Now you'll notice that this head seems to have a really big forehead, but that's on purpose, because our forehead and the top of our head are very important. And a lot of times when people are drawing, what they do is they do not think about the head's a little bit flat. We don't want that. We don't want to look at the head flat. Okay, so I'm just going to go over the outside of my face again, so that it's a little darker. Okay, now eyebrows go over the eyes. Now, if you can still see that circle you made a little bit, you can use that to kind of figure out how high up it's going to go. So your eyebrow curves right over the top of that eye, and we'll be working more on eyebrows and how to do eyebrows in our eyeglass. It should go from about the corner to the other corner, so let me just fix that one. Like I said, these aren't going to be perfect eyebrows because today we're just kind of trying things out a little bit, figuring out where stuff goes. All right. Okay, let's look at this nose, and we're going to think about how this nose is shaped. We are going to spend time doing the nose in the other class as well, another class as well. It's just we're going to make this look a little bit more like a nose. So I'm going to start by going up and down underneath that circle. Then I'm going to go and then around. So up in a little curve right there in between the two, and then around. And then I'm going to go around the circle on this side and have it kind of touch the big circle. I'm going to take my eraser and I'm going to erase the sides of the circle right here that would be touching the big circle, okay? We are going to now leave this and kind of make it into one big piece, okay? Now, what we're going to do now is the bridge of the nose is right in between the eyes, okay? So that's the bridge of the nose. We're going to make a little line right there. That's the part of your nose that sticks out right here. Now, to figure out where the sides of the nose go, they start at your eyebrow. So you're going to gently curve it in and touch it down. Why isn't my microphone working? Check my microphone. I don't know why it's saying my microphone's having a problem. Hold on. appears that my microphone is working. I hope it is. That would really stink if it didn't. So we're going to continue. Let me just make sure that my microphone's working. It'd be really stinky if I did this whole thing and all of a sudden you guys couldn't hear me. Okay, so now we've got this nose created, okay? And then this is where the beginning of the lip is, the start of the lip. Why isn't my iPad? Hold on. All of a sudden my iPad is not, yikes. Oh, there we go. Phew, I was scared for a minute. Technology makes me crazy. Okay, so right about here on the top of this line, you're going to go and you're going to make a little M, just like that, little M. And then you're going to go and you're going to connect that little M to either side of that line. And then you're going to go down and make a big, fat, curvy, like it looks like a bowl. Now, right now, my eyes look pretty big. So most human eyes are not going to be open this wide. So I'm actually going to go along here and make a little line kind of going right across the bottom here. It kind of doesn't make it so round across the bottom of the eye, because the way our eyes are shaped, which we'll learn in our eye class, they're not going to be perfectly shaped that way. Okay, so there we go. That looks a little bit better. And I just have to put in a pupil because this person looks very strange without one. So I'm just making a circle on the inside of each eye. Now they look like they're staring at you. Like, hey, stop looking at me. Okay, so. All right, so then if you were making the hair, you need to think about the forehead and how big the forehead is, okay? So the forehead would be, we have our original dot here. Our forehead would be, hold on a second, let me bring this up a little bit so we can see a little bit better. There we go. Our forehead would be right about here. So let's make this person kind of have like a side sweeping bang, okay? And then the hair will go above and around the skull, because our hair doesn't actually touch our head. I mean, our hair goes above our head. It has some volume there. So now I'm just going to erase that line that we have right there so that it looks more like the hair is connected. And we are going to spend an entire class also working on hair. So we don't have to really worry about our hair too much today. The last step is we're going to talk about the neck. The neck should be about halfway between the jaw, which is here, and the chin. So I'm going to make one line down here and another line down here. Okay? And we will learn more about shading necks and all that fun stuff as we go. Draw the side view of the face. So I'm going to flip my paper over. And we are going to draw a side view. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a circle again. Do that more in the middle of your paper. You are going to make a dot right in the center. And then you're going to make a dot on the top and bottom. Okay, so we're making our line across just like we did last time. Make a line across the bottom here. Make your line right across the top. And then make a line going straight down. Okay, we have to do a few more measurements. So I'd like you to measure in between this dot and this dot, just like we did before on the other side. Lift it up, drop it down, And then there's another dot right here that I just made. You're going to make another line across the bottom. Okay. So the question is, how do we make the side of a face so it looks realistic? We're going to go right along the outside of this circle, and then you're going to curve it in till it touches this line right here. Okay, so we're making like a big, uh-oh. Oh my goodness, Siri, I am not talking to you. Siri always does this to me. Oh, I don't want to say your name. All right. So you're kind of making a big fat curve. And it's going above and below. Okay, and then right about right up here, I'm just going to kind of go across here a little bit. And then down here, I'm going to go along the bottom a little bit. And then I'm going to start curving up, curving up, curving up until I touch that line right here. Okay. Right above this line, you are going to go inwards like this and make a little, kind of a little half circle, a nice round one. And then I'm just going to kind of smooth out this area right here a little bit. Maybe go in a little bit. Then you're going to go out. And then you're going to pull this in and touch that line right there. You're going to go out a little bit, like another little curve. You're going to go in. You're going to go out again, like you're making a little triangle. You're going to go in, but you're going to make that kind of round and soft. I'll do that up here too. You're going to go in a little bit more. And then you're going to go down and around, nice and soft. Okay, so I'm going to erase that line. All right. So I'm just going to fix this nose a little bit more and make it a little bit less, less of a straight line. So I'm going to make it a little bit more, have it go in a little bit more. Okay. And then the nose would come down around over here. You can make a line and then just kind of connect it to make like a lip. And the eye would be in between this dot and this line. So let's find a spot right in between. Okay, there it is. And then I'm going to make a skinny, like an oval. Then I'm going to make, it kind of looks like a greater than sign around the eye. I'm going to make another curved line that starts above, touches that oval, and it goes below like this. Now my forehead needs to be a little bit more round. It goes back a little too far. So our foreheads do not slope back. So I need to fix that forehead. All right. Now, once again, remember, we've got this whole, we have a back of our head. So the back of our head is round. So usually someone has hair, but you have to think about how there would be, my skull actually would probably go right off the page, but you have to think about how there's a roundness to the back of the head. So I'm just kind of bring a line down here that's going underneath where my jawline will be. And then I'm going to go down and around out. You're going to go back to right about where that dot is and go down from there. Now we need to fix our jawline because our jawline is too long. So in between where we have the back of the head and this dot, right about there, I'm going to make another dot, and that's where I'm going to bring my jawline up. Okay, because your jawline does not go to the back of your head. Okay, so if you look at my side profile, it goes to right about here. So I still have quite a bit of space. And then our ear will go right in between this line and this line. And your ear is right where your jaw bone is. And we will spend time making really nice ears in future classes. Okay, eyebrow goes over the eye, just like it did on the other side, when we were doing the front view. And then I'm just going to pull in this area a little bit more underneath that lip. All right, so this is a side view. So we did a front view and a side view. So let's look at this picture again. So we're going to be spending some time drawing the front of a nose now. So we're going to work on drawing the front of a nose. So I'd like you to get a new piece of paper. You're going to get your kneaded eraser. I would like you to pick out a softer pencil. To figure that out, there's a number. This way, sorry. There's a number and a letter on your pencil. I want you to look for a higher number. So mine's a 4. The higher the number, the softer the pencil. I'm also going to get a blending stick to blend. A blending stick. And I'm going to get my eraser pencil. My eraser pencil is tiny. Okay. You're going to start by making a circle and then one line and another line coming down on the opposite side. Then you're going to make a circle on this side and a circle on this side. Try to make them equal. Just like we did on the picture of the view from the front, we're going to make a circle, go around the bottom, another circle, and then go around the side. And we're going to actually go up and connect that line to the side of the nose. Then I'm going to erase that line above. I am going to leave this circle though there. Then I'm going to take my pencil and start right here where I did that circle, and I'm going to go down in a slightly curved line and then down on this side as well. And that is the area in between the nose and the lips. Now, our nostril right here is shaped kind of like a teardrop. Okay, so if you're drawing like a teardrop, where the narrow part is going to be near the center of the nose. So I am going to draw a teardrop right there, and another teardrop right there. Now there is skin underneath our nostrils, so I'm going to bring this area right here underneath that, like that. Okay, now just want to look at this and make sure that it's pretty even. because the next step, we're going to start blending. So you're going to get your blending stick. Blending sticks look different depending on what you use. This is the one I'm going to be using. And I'm going to go over all the lines we just did. Now, if you're finding that your pencil is not blending well, you might want to switch to a different pencil. Okay, so I'm going to go over all the lines I just did. All the lines I just did. I'm going to go around in a circle right in the middle, and I'm going to leave a little white spot right there. Go over this line right here. This line, over the nostrils, over the lines in the middle. Okay, then I'm going to keep going over the sides and really try to soften those lines up a lot. And what I mean by that is I don't want to see the lines. I'm going to switch to a different blending stick. This is a little too soft. What I mean by that is I want you to try to get rid of the line as much as you can, because because the side of our nose is created by shadow. Okay, so I'm actually going to do a little bit more of a close-up for you here. So what you're going to do is go along this line, kind of pushing hard a little bit to try to get as much of that line gone as you can. And then you're going to start going back and forth right outside of that line, and you're going to be going down at an angle, and we're bringing that shadow out, like if we're making the skin on the either side. So you're going to bring that shadow out. You're going to bring that shadow also around the sides here in a round shape, around and around and around. Nicely. Okay, and then I'm going to bring that down, the shadowing down into that center area underneath the nose. Starting to look like a nose. Okay, so we're not going to leave this area pure white. I'm going to bring this in a little bit because the bridge of our nose is a little more narrow than this. So we're going to go along. Now, everybody's noses are totally different shapes. So this is just one type of nose that we're doing right now. Then I'm going to go over the top in an arc, or if I'm making little rainbows, little rainbow, all the way up with my dirty blending stick. Okay? Now, I can still see these lines pretty well. So what I'm going to do is take my pencil, and I'm going to make little tiny lines next to this, kind of like if it had fur on it or something. And this is going to allow this to look more blended and more natural than it will as just a line. So you're going to want to see how it's facing down, like the hair's going down. Okay, and then I'm going to blend over that. And that is going to look a lot more realistic. There we go. I'm just going to blend over that. There we go. All right, that looks good. All right, I'm just going to pull that color in a little bit more and then go back and forth across the top again, those little arcs. Okay. Now I'm going to go over my nostrils and kind of go over the top here. So the only thing I really have left right now, and that's kind of for a reflection. All right. I'm going to color in my nostril, nice and dark, and nice and dark. And the end of it kind of hides underneath the bottom of the nose here. And I'm going to go over the bottom of my nose a little bit more because I need that to be a little darker. So I'm actually going to bring that shadow down a little bit from there. Okay. Now I'm going to take my eraser pencil and I'm going to go over the top of that nostril. And this is going to make it look like there is actually skin going over it. Okay, so I don't want to get rid of the nostril. I just want to make it appear underneath. So I'm going to go over and do the same thing over here. like there's skin over it. Now, lighter areas come forward and darker areas go back. So the nostril is underneath the skin on our nose. So I'm going to go right up the side of this nose and just kind of take a little of the color out too to highlight this a little bit. And then I'm going to go underneath the nostril. Okay, underneath the nostril. And I'm going to kind of erase that line a little bit under the nostril so it's not as obvious. And then you're going to do the same thing where you're going to do your back and forth arcs, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Okay, and just blend underneath. All right, so we need a little bit more shadowing under the nose. So I'm going to go under here and I'm going to make some kind of the same kind of things, kind of sideways fur underneath the nose here. And I'm going to blend that. We don't want it to look like this person has a beard or a mustache. So I'm going to just kind of go along here. And the tip of our nose is going to go down a little bit more. So I'm actually going to use my eraser pencil and kind of go down a little bit more. As our nose doesn't end above the nostrils. So I'm just going to kind of add a little bit more to that and blend right over that. Okay, now our nose does have highlights on it. So I'm going to go back a little bit and we're going to add some of those highlights. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go back and forth in a jagged line, like I'm making zigzags, right along the bridge of my nose, okay? So you can't see it as well. Hold on, maybe I'll do my close-up again. Sorry. Woo, that's a real close-up. So zigzag, back and forth, like you're making zigzags, okay? And then you're going to go over this circle that's left there, the line, and you're going to kind of just go around in a little circle until you leave that empty part. So right now the tip of the nose is pretty light. Okay, so you're going to kind of blend this zigzag into this. And then I'm going to take my blending stick and I'm going to go on either side and kind of darken it up a little bit on either side of that circle. And once again, I'm going to kind of go around in that circle and kind of blend. And then I'm going to go back and forth over the bridge of my nose again. Now, the reflection on our nose isn't always perfect. So I'm going to kind of go along and make kind of just a an area that has quite a bit of the light taken out of it. And then on the opposites, right here next to this little line that we can kind of see, I'm going to take a little color out of the nostril and just go over that a little bit with the shading, but I want to leave that reflection there. And I'm just going to do a little bit around the curve here, a little bit. All right, and then these lines actually are white. So I'm going to go over those lines and then in between them, and then just go over them very lightly with my blending stick. And this would be where our mouth would start, right about here. So we're not going to do our mouth today, but just so you have an idea where the mouth goes. All right, I'm going to stop share. So next week, we're going to work on the eyes, and we're going to work on side profile of the nose. What I would like you to do is I'm going to put that in the class, your homework for this week. I would like you to send me a picture that you worked on today. So I'd like you to send me your front view, side view, and your nose. And I'll just give you a little feedback, let you know what I think, give you some ideas. I hope you had fun. I know I did, and I hope to see you soon. All right, bye. See you soon. Bye-bye.